Well, I think you're right, but let me just come at it from a slightly different angle. The Israelis have always accepted the fact that they could not completely eliminate Palestinian resistance. And what they talked about doing was managing the problem. So you want to understand that Hamas was alive and well in Gaza well before October 7th. And indeed, the Netanyahu government worked with Hamas to get Hamas to help the Israelis undermine the two-state process, right? So the Israelis were managing Gaza quite well up until October 7th. And it looked like, even though Hamas was there as a threat, it was not that serious a threat. What happens on October 7th is you have this horrendous attack, and the Israelis are caught with their pants down, and they suffer a humiliating defeat. It's a tactical defeat. It's not a strategic defeat by any means, but they suffer this humiliating defeat. And the question then is, how do you respond if you're the Israelis? And the Israelis decide that what they're going to do is eliminate Hamas, right? We're going to get rid of it. The reason they never tried to get rid of Hamas beforehand was not simply because it was useful for avoiding a two-state solution. They didn't get rid of Hamas because it was almost impossible to get rid of Hamas. And they knew that if they got rid of Hamas, that another group would spring up in its place, okay? So they managed the problem. That management process failed on October 7th. So the question is, what do you do then if you're playing their hand? If I were playing their hand, I would have just said, look, this was a terribly unfortunate incident on October 7th, but we can't defeat Hamas militarily. It makes no sense to invade Gaza. We'll just be jumping into quicksand. And instead, what we ought to do is think about how to do the management process more smartly moving forward. That's what they should have done, because you can't eliminate Hamas. But they didn't do that. They were enraged, and they decided that they would invade Gaza and pursue a punishment campaign against the civilian population to maybe ethnically cleanse Gaza and also go after Hamas. But as we have been saying here, the likelihood of success is incredibly small. And the end result, I think Alexander is right, is that the Israelis will ultimately suffer a defeat.